I used to hate the pageants that they had at your church during Christmas and Easter, because you had to participate. But other than that, we had lawn parties, and we would go to the beach.
What beach did you go to?
Sparrows Beach and Carl's Beach. Only one we could go to at the time.
That's legendary.
Yes.
And so you had lawn parties because you couldn't go to nightclubs.
Right.
So you had your own.
We had our own little, and there was at least something going on in all the communities, especially during the summertime. You know, of course, there were baseball. Baseball was a big thing. And Sunday they played baseball, and Saturday and Sunday they played baseball. Every community had a team, and they used to compete against each other.
Did you play baseball?
No, too high.
What was the name of your baseball team in your community?
Crossroads. All I have to remember is this Crossroads team. I know there's a Black Sox in Arlington. There were two teams in Arlington. And Vienna was, what? Tigers. Vienna Tigers. Yeah. She was really into sports coming up. But it was a little too high for me. I'd rather go to the beach.
Were you into sports when you were in Manassas High?
Yes, I played football there.
So Manassas had its football teams?
Yes, we had a football team, and that's another story. I was driving a school bus. Now, we could only practice if you were doing good in class and the teacher deemed that, you could practice probably the last 2 periods of the day. But if you rode a bus, you had to get on the bus and go home. I had football players on my bus, and I played football, but I still had to drive the bus. At a certain time, the bus had to leave. So we didn't get to practice in. We didn't have to train and get to practice in like we should. It got a little bit different at Luther Jackson because they had a late bus. So when I finished my run, I would come back and pick up the team at Luther Jackson and take them home.
But when you were Manassas, you couldn't practice because you had to drive the bus because you were 16.
Yes. So I get on the bus with my football cleats. It was really something.
Well, are there any other memories you'd like to tell us about times in Fairfax, segregation, the civil rights movement?
Well, one thing is, as a kid, we had no place to swim. We used to go to, we had an old swimming hole down that was fed off of Holmes Run. And then sometimes the police would come down and run us away from there. But we used to go up to Banneker in Washington, catch the bus over there. I don't know, that's just to swim because it was hot when you got there, hot when you left. And they built a swimming pool in Alexander, in the city of Alexander, and we could go there. But still, it was a long ride from Baylor's Crossroads. We had to go on a bus. If someone had a car, they would take us. And, but there was really no recreation. You had to make your own fun. I can remember during the summer when they started first putting up the basketball goals outside on the playgrounds. But the playground there were cinders there. There was nothing. And I do know that there were playgrounds around in the white community that were much better equipped than what we had.
What movie theaters did you go to?
Washington. We go to Washington, to the Lincoln and the Republic, to the Lincoln Theater, Republic, and I think there was another one down southwest. The Mott. The Mott was the one. And Howard Theater. We'd love to go to the Howard.
So there wasn't any movie theaters out here that you could go to?
No. Now, in Manassas, you could go upstairs. In Manassas, you could go upstairs.
But not the State Theater in Falls Church. Could you go there?
No,
It was segregated.
segregated, yeah. And I think that was about the only theater close around at that time.
And so when you would go into D.C., you were on a segregated bus?
No, not really. There were a few sprinkled, here whites on the bus when we went to DC. Because it was a form of public transportation. Anybody could ride. But I remember when I first started riding the bus, I had to ride it back.
When you walked on the street, did anybody ever use the N-word or call you boy or anything like that?
In Arlington, in Fairfax, yes. But I never had it in Washington.
What were those occasions? What happened then?
Well, sometimes you would react to it. I mean, there were times when I would react to it, not because I was angry, but just because I didn't say it and I knew, and I didn't like it. But I